As we approach the end of 2021, we find ourselves in the middle of a perfect storm. The number and scale of the challenges we face is overwhelming. We must find a way to deal with these challenges because the consequences of failure extend far beyond our respective corporate interests. The supplier ecosystem is full of solutions that should give us reasons to be optimistic. Unfortunately, I think there is still a very high risk of failure. The threat comes from what I see as a systemic problem with the status quo. The business model we have followed throughout my career is not fit for purpose. I think there is a way to avoid catastrophe, but before we discuss possible solutions, we have to understand the problem. What is the status quo and what is wrong with it? Well, let's assume that the daily objective of a manufacturer is performance improvement. And over the past 30 years, the manufacturers I have worked with have all followed four major trends aimed at improving performance. Firstly, there are the strategies they have followed, such as mergers, acquisitions, new market entry, and capital investments. The second major trend has been the introduction of operational excellence programs. The third has been the investments made in information technology. And the fourth major trend has been the investments made in operational technologies inside the factory. Now, most organizations can see clear improvements in performance as a result of each one, but none of the four investment areas are fully delivered on their potential. So why is that the case? Well, let's begin by looking at the internal dynamics inside a typical manufacturer. The strategic objectives are cascaded down from CXO level to operations. The Operational Excellence Program provides the performance improvement methodologies, but to deliver the improvement, the business needs data, information, and supporting processes. And the manufacturer usually looks internally in two main directions for solutions. One source of solutions is IT, and whilst IT support many of the business processes, they do not build production facilities. That is the domain of the second source of solutions, which is engineering. And in my experience, IT and engineering do not collaborate particularly well, and in many cases appear to be in competition. Now let's look at the external dynamics. There is a large ecosystem of consultancies who mainly target the C-suite. In the traditional IT ecosystem, you find the major enterprise application vendors, their integration partners, and a wide range of hardware and platform providers. But in the OT ecosystem, we find a very different set of hardware and software vendors. The implementation partners differ, and OT is also where we find the OEMs. And finally, the operational excellence ecosystem is populated by consultancies who specialize in teaching and implementing operational excellence. So in many respects, the external ecosystem of suppliers is a mirror image of the silos and challenges found inside a manufacturing company. And an audit of a typical manufacturer shows just how many stakeholders have an impact on performance. So if we take a topic like sustainability as an example, then everyone on this diagram has an impact on sustainability, but no one supplier can deliver it. Manufacturing systems are complex, and historically, we did not find a way to deal with that complexity. One of the reasons we didn't is due to the nature of the relationships between manufacturers and suppliers and between the suppliers themselves. The process I have seen is that CXOs engage consultancies to help them define the strategy. That strategy is shared internally, and each department develops their own departmental strategy. Those strategies are then broken down into their component parts, and the manufacturer looks for solutions. Suppliers propose what they think is required or what they want to sell. In general, the communication and information flow between the manufacturer and the supplier is linear and peer-to-peer, and there is also very little communication between the suppliers. And this way of working has resulted in projects that often take longer, cost more, and deliver less value than the manufacturer expected. But what we've been discussing so far is Industry 3. In recent years, the picture has become more complicated by the advent of Industry 4. This white space has been entered by most of the established players, but has also seen the emergence of the hyperscalers together with a large number of startups. Both manufacturers and suppliers have invested heavily in Industry 4, but where is it today? A few years ago, great things were predicted, but as of today, we are actually in what McKinsey call pilot purgatory. Industry 4 is also failing to deliver, so again, the question is why? Well, my answer is that nothing has changed. The status quo is still intact, and the systemic problem is still there. We haven't changed our business model. So what is the solution? The concept I have developed is called the Quorum Principle. The starting point is for a manufacturer to answer this question. Which 5 suppliers have the biggest impact on you achieving your goals? And for many, the answer may be their management consultants, their enterprise software provider, their system integrator, automation standard, and hyperscaler. And in this example for manufacturer A, those suppliers may be McKinsey, SAP, Accenture, Siemens, and Microsoft Azure. And my view is that those 5 combined do have the potential to unlock a manufacturer's value. But this will only work if the manufacturer brings all 5 together into the boardroom and mandates that moving forward, they will work together with the manufacturer and will be collectively responsible for defining and delivering the manufacturer's objectives. But just like a combination lock, each manufacturer's quorum will be specific to them. So in manufacturer B, it would be a different combination of suppliers. In manufacturer C, different again, and manufacturer D, different again. Now this way of working would be a major change to the status quo. If adopted, the Quorum Principle would be a paradigm shift.